Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. I've had some clips in the process of editing to get up on the channel, especially after the last big Tuesday. We had another massive day the following Sunday. A little bit of an incident happened, hence why I've just been waiting for things to die down a bit. But what I have been wanting to do is put together a clip with all the gear that I use, safety, etc, etc. So I actually filmed this again a couple of weeks ago, but just haven't had the chance to get it all together. So it's still relevant. It's still all the gear that I use, and I think I might even have a little bit of a sneak peek at the end of that one of a quick little cut into some of the footage from the one that's coming. But also, let me know in the comments for the next edit, which is a super huge run, best conditions ever. Do you want a full clip, edited, music, etc., or do you just want the raw footage chucked up? You know, I'll take little bits out, but let me know, raw footage or edited, in the comments below. That'd be great to sort of get some input on to see how this channel is developing. Leading into summer, it'll give me a little bit more of an idea of what everyone is after too. So again, in the comments below, do you want a full edit with music, raw footage? Let's do it. Welcome back to the channel. Finally in Perth we've got some blue sky and sunshine, although it's not going to stay around for long. Today's video is actually something I've been wanting to do over the last couple of weeks, except trying to get out and to film this whilst the weather has been average is pretty tricky. So it's pretty much a summary of the gear that I use and what happened to my Volare. The last few clips that I've been posting, I've been on the Aries. So yeah, what happened to the Volare? Well, a few months ago we had our national titles, OC1 national titles, and that was on the east coast of Australia, up in Queensland, so the other side of where we are in Perth. So I had to get a canoe over there for that, and I decided to race the Volare, and for the conditions that were on that day, it was probably a good choice, although I definitely would have preferred being on a lighter weight canoe. So the plan was to keep my canoe on the east coast and do the consecutive races that are in the new Aokra downwind series which was scheduled for August, September, and then the last race is back in WA in December. With COVID, plans have changed, so they've had to reschedule race 2, which was for Coffs Harbour, so that's supposed to be actually next weekend, but that's been cancelled. So I had a canoes just sitting on the east coast, and obviously with COVID, and there is a possibility that potentially the next 2 races could be postponed again on the east coast. I just made the call and decided to put it up for sale to save me getting it shipped around the country again. So it's sold. I sold it over there. There's one of the guys at Ballina has picked it up and he's loving it. So shout out to you, mate. I hope you're enjoying the canoe. No doubt you are. So I've just been back on the Aries, but the amount of paddling that I've been doing in the last 2 months has been probably I can count them on one hand. It's only when the wind's been 25-30 knots I've decided to get out. So on that, you've seen my last post, my last clip, which you'll see up there somewhere if I can get it linked up, that we did have a big 30 knot day, big Tuesday, and that was a pretty good run. Although after catching that massive bomb towards the bridge, it was a bit of an anticlimax. The wind died, and yeah, it was just a bit of a slog to the end. The runs weren't that good. It was, you had to really work for them, which is disappointing considering how big this swell was. But you get that. But come Sunday, just gone, 40 knot winds with 50 knot gusts. So there was an incident. There was a paddler that had to be rescued with equipment failure, and that can happen on a normal run down the coast in the summer in 20 knots. It was just one of those things. But I think it's a timely reminder to go through the essential piece of kit that you need to take with you when you're on the ocean, or even if you're paddling by yourself. So, obviously you start off, first port of call is always a PFD. Now, with all the new standards that are going around in all the races around the world, I think it's pretty much across the board now that all this new ISO standard, so ISO 50. I've added a whistle on mine. It's in good condition, although I am thinking this year to upgrade. I'll probably get another Vocabi because I actually like the fit. And the big thing now with doing all the downwinders that we're doing is we're all carrying these personal locating beacons, so PLBs. This one's the ACR. I think it activates via a certain radio frequency to a GPS signal, and then allocates your exact location to whoever it's going to in terms of the rescue group. So that was activated over the weekend. Last port of call, in an emergency, he had to activate it. He had an RQ snap, and 2 guys buddied up, but they couldn't get to shore. Hypothermia was starting to kick in, so best thing to do, activate it. And from what I'm led to believe, there was a chopper on scene within about 15 to 20 minutes of the activation, and he was winched to safety. So used it, had to use it, great outcome, and everyone is home safe. So the other things that we always carry, leg leash. Every year
or every 18 months, I'll tend to replace it. So regardless if it's been under tension or not. So I like this one in particular because it's got a heavy duty clasp. There's some other ones on the market that the clasp can actually be disengaged accidentally. You actually have to put a bit of pressure on this one, so it's as good. It's got a solid Velcro strap, and it's quite a thick cord. So the likelihood of that overstretching over time, being so thick, is obviously again reduced. High-vis clothing. So if you ever have to get rescued, you know, you need to be seen. And even in early mornings or late evenings. So we always run some high-vis clothing, whether it's a shirt or a cap. And then also PFDs these days also have a bit of high-vis. Mobile phone, waterproof case. Yeah, it's pretty much, you know, a must-do these days. If you get into a situation where you feel it's not an emergency to activate your PLB, then you can always assistance with your mobile phone. But again, make sure all the seals and the pouch is completely waterproof, because you don't want to go out, capsize, and then find out, you know, you've got a pouch full of water and your mobile phone is useless. Now I've been running a wave deflector on the canoes that I've been paddling downwind. It just adds that extra bit of protection from water getting in the canoe, slowing you down, less chance of broaching, full canoe of water. So that's I pretty much carry that with me wherever I go. A flare, so orange smoke flare. Again, making sure it's in date and you know how to use it. Which end do you hold? Well, it's at that end. You rip it, pull it, and away you go. So going offshore, another must-have. Spare paddle. Now, I've recently become aware of a story that there was a situation where a paddler snapped his paddle in rough seas and pretty much spent the whole night on the water. So just a timely reminder. It might be frustrating, might take a little bit of extra time setting up. You might think, oh, I'll be right, I won't need it. But on those times that you do need it and you don't have a spare paddle, you know, it's going to make the situation extremely difficult. So another piece of kit that we use that we can carry with us is gaffer tape. Now we use the gaffer tape to tape up our spare paddle on the Aku. And instead of leaving it in the trailer or in the car, throw it in your pocket of your PFD, and it in an emergency situation actually can be quite handy. Whether you hoolie, you put a hole in your canoe, or like on the weekend recently, tape was used to help fix the Aku, temporary fix, and then also help to raft up two canoes together. So if the guys hadn't had the tape, then they wouldn't have been able to attempt to keep the canoes afloat with the missing armour. So it would have been a lot trickier. So the tape definitely did come in handy, and you literally just throw it inside the back pocket of your PFD and get it out when you need it. Some other gear, obviously, you know, I'll take the two GoPros. So having the floatie for your GoPro mount, this pretty much stays in my mouth most of the downwind paddles that I do these days. Gooseneck mount, and then some of you may have noticed the GPS watch mount that I've been using recently. It's from Wash Rider. Now I'll stick all the product details and the links to this kit in the description below. But use the standard GoPro mount. For a downwind, I'll actually mount it upside down so it's stays nice and flush with the canoe. But if I'm training, I'll actually stick it up this way, and my watch just goes out of that over the floatie mount. So it's actually really simple, really easy, and all you need is another GoPro mount, and away you go. Now, Washrider, another great Aussie company. They do a range of paddling accessories for K1, surf ski, etc. All Aussie designed, so it's great. And I've actually been using their version 3 of the Y-racks, so for canoe transportation, and I found that these are awesome. So Washrider, unique design here where you've got some really firm foam, but it's covered in like a non-slip shrink wrap. It's got a really wide V, so you can accommodate a lot of different size craft. So you're not necessarily just using a real narrow K1, but you can use, you know, a wide, say, surf ski like a V8 as well. So very versatile. They're removable as well. So you can see on my other one here, I've just taken them out. So they're not a permanent fix. You can just literally release the pin, pull them out, throw them in the back. So that's another great feature of them. I've recently returned from a family holiday up north, about 6-hour drive away, and storm fronts, 30-knot winds, 40-knot winds, driving on the freeways, rock solid. It's a ratchet type design that flicks over the canoe, hooks into a loop, and then you tighten it up. So really good, great piece of kit. And even over the last weekend and last week, where we've had, you know, the 40 to 50 knot winds, rock solid in the 50 knot winds. Yeah, you're always looking at the nose of the ski, looking if they're moving. You know, when you get all these wind gusts come in, the whole car can move when the canoe gets caught by the wind gust. And no, these things have been working great. So highly recommend these Washrider Y-racks version 3. And again, I'll leave the link in the description below so you can check them out. It's got a YouTube channel as well, so a little bit more information about doing it up, doing the ratchet, etc, etc. Always, again, when you're transporting your canoe, have a safety sock for the rear. A lot of jurisdictions now, it's actually law that you need to have a flag, anything overhanging. Here in WA, we're only allowed a 1.2 metre overhang from the rear of the vehicle. So make sure you know your local laws and regulations regarding that vehicle overhang. So this one here is from KRT Australia. They do some great kit as well, and I'll leave a description in the notes below for that one as well. So that's pretty much a summary of the gear I use, although I have missed one. the most important one. I love data. I love looking at how hard I've worked, whether I've been in the right heart rate zones, how fast I've gone, and all the years that I've been paddling, I've been attached to the Garmin framework now for an extremely long time. I just find it easy to use. Their phone app is great and they're reliable. So don't forget, make sure you've got a good GPS heart rate device. This one is the Garmin 6X Plus. And I'm wearing a heart rate strap for that as well. So I think that's it. On the banks of the Swan River here in Perth on finally a sunny day. So if you've got any questions on the gear that we use, or if there's something I've missed, you know, hit us up in the comments below. And look out for the possibility of a sneak peek of some all-time runs. I'm pretty sure it's the fastest 7 kilometers I've ever done on a canoe, averaging over 16 kilometers per hour for the 7Ks. There might be a sneak peek coming once everything's settled down over the weekend. I'll think about getting it edited and up on the channel, but for now, this is the gear. Any questions, hit us up below. Hope you're enjoying the content, and don't forget, if you want to see something, let me know. So I've got the Aries fully loaded, ratchet strap, got a hook, hooking in, and then we've got the flag on the back. Highly recommend them. You.